Hey guys, how's it going? So today I want to talk about DIY projects you can do in your house that will save you a bunch of money if you're selling, or if you just want to upgrade your home. You can either do these projects yourself or hire them out for a low cost. So let's get into it. The kitchen is usually the focal point of the house. When people walk through a house, they always notice the kitchen. That's where people hang out, eat, obviously. So redoing your cabinets, if you have older cabinets, you can resurface them and paint them white. So a lot of the times what people do, they think they need to get old or new cabinets, and usually that costs anywhere between 20, 30 grand, even more expensive, just depending on what kind of cabinets you get. But if you have old wood cabinets, you can hire someone, or you can take the cabinets off and you want to sand down the doors, make sure the grain's gone, and you can paint them white lacquer. Obviously, it's a lot of work that goes into it, but you can actually see a return on your sweat equity, or if you hired it out, anywhere between $5,000 to $15,000. The next thing you can do is wrap your old kitchen countertops. So if you have something like Formica in your kitchen, what you can do is you can hop on Amazon, and right here they have, it's called contact paper, and it looks like marble. You can get some that look like granite as well. You can check it out, but it's $59 per roll. And what you can do here, instead of going out and getting new countertops and paying anywhere between $7,000 to $10,000 for granite countertops, you can actually wrap your old ones. And when you do this, you want to make sure that you are doing it properly and you're not getting any air bubbles when you're laying down the new countertops in your house. But with this, you can see a profit of anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000 on your resale. So when you're wrapping old kitchen countertops, unfortunately you can't do this on tile, because obviously the grout in between will cause bumps. But if you have a flat surface, you can definitely do it. Number 3 is tile glazing. If you've ever walked through an older home, you can see the showers usually have a yellow tint to the glaze, the old glaze that they have in there, or the old tiles. And so when people walk into bathrooms, they want to make sure they're nice. And what you can do to upgrade your bathroom is actually get your bathrooms reglazed. So you can do this yourself, or you can hire it out. Usually, from what I've seen here in Orange County, my guys charge anywhere between $300 to $350 per bathroom if we're reglazing, and this helps a ton. You don't need to take out any old tile or resurface anything and spend $5,000 to $10,000 per bathroom, but instead you can just reglaze your old tiles and it looks brand new, completely white. To the eye psychology, it looks new and nice and clean. If you're doing the reglaze yourself, you want to make sure you're removing old caulking, any old glue, and redoing the caulking so it's nice and white at the bottom. And when you transform your bathroom, you reglaze, you can see a profit of anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000, and the look and the feel of the bathroom is going to completely change. And another note, a reglaze usually lasts anywhere between 6 to 7 years before you need to redo it. Another thing you can do, if you've ever walked through a house that was built in the 70s or just hasn't been remodeled, it's very popular throughout 70s, 80s, even 90s, was the popcorn ceiling. So with popcorn ceilings, you want to make sure that you scrape them and you retexture. But when you're doing this, especially if you're doing it yourself, you got to make sure that these popcorn ceilings don't contain asbestos, because you do not want to breathe that in. So if you're doing this job yourself, you need to make sure that you are wearing the proper equipment to scrape the ceiling. If you're doing this yourself, you can expect to spend anywhere from $200 to $300 on drywall and primer, and you can probably expect to spend another $50, $60 on tools needed to scrape the ceilings. I would highly suggest that you kind of hire a contractor out for this one, especially one that can retexture the whole ceiling. You don't want to keep your popcorn ceilings, because if people are walking through your house, they're automatically going to think that you have not fixed up anything within the house, because those acoustic ceilings, popcorn ceilings, are from the 70s, 80s, so it kind of takes them back in time and it distracts them from any other upgrades that you've done in your house. Now today, we know that smooth ceilings are in. You want to see those smooth surfaces and ceilings throughout the house to make sure that everything's modern, nice and clean. But if you're doing this and you put in the sweat equity, let's say your costs around $500 and you're being very careful about asbestos, you can see an annualized return on this one project with putting in all that sweat equity anywhere between $4,000 to $6,000. So number 5, another nice little touch is putting baseboards in the house. You want to remove any of those small, thin baseboards that you've seen that are old and replace them with the bigger, more up-to-date baseboards. And you can also put baseboards around windows, which actually gives it a nice little touch. This will definitely modernize the house, and with this you can do it yourself again, remove old baseboards and put in the new ones, and you're gonna see anywhere a cost between $400 and $600. That's baseboard, and you got to remember, you got to paint those baseboards. If you're doing the baseboards yourself, you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot and you can actually rent a nail gun, and you're going to need a caulk gun as well to caulk the baseboards. And if you are doing them yourself, you're going to need a paintbrush. As I mentioned before, you're going to have to paint all of the baseboards. Putting in the baseboards is another big ticket item, and if you put in the sweat equity, you're going to see a market value around $3,500. If you're removing all of the hardware, I would definitely recommend that you use brushed nickel or you use chrome. So you want to make sure the hinges, the door handles are changed, and any other hardware that brings you back to the 70s, because psychologically when buyers or other people walk through your house, again, they're gonna think, wow, they haven't changed the hinges. And it's such a simple task, and again, you can hire it out and it's cheap and it's gonna add a lot of value to your property. So once you do this, it will help buyers or people walking through your house know that you also updated the door hinges and the hardware, and you've done a lot more to the property, so they're not taken off of everything else that you've done to your property to make it look beautiful. So this is just another trick that you can use, simple, cost effective, and in the end you could probably see a return around $3,000 if you were to sell your home. What we're trying to do here is just get that feeling, that psychology of buyers or people walking through your house with these little changes that they might not notice up front and say anything about, but when people are walking through your house and they see things of the past, they're gonna focus on that more so than the good and the new renovations that you've done to your house to upgrade it. So these little tweaks that you can do that are cost effective go miles. Just a simple one. Number 7, you can buy new mulch. So the cost on this is probably $70, just depends on how big your yard is, but sprucing up the yard in front, when people pull up, it's the first thing they see is your yard and your house, of course. So this helps psychology. If you just get new mulch, it's nice, new, and brown. This will help the appeal of your property, and it's very cheap, not expensive. You can definitely do this yourself. And on any given Sunday, probably take you a couple hours at most, just depending on how big your yard is. But you can expect an added value of around $2,000. Number 8 is changing out old yellow electrical plates, switches, and outlets. So just like the old hardware, we want to switch out the hardware for the outlets and the electrical. So with this project, I would highly recommend that you get a contractor in or a handyman to do all of this. And just depending on how many outlets you have, this can be anywhere from $500, $600 cost if you're going to Home Depot or you're going to Lowe's. You can even purchase, outlet switches, covers on Amazon, probably at a cheaper price, just depending on what you're going for. But usually when we're redoing our houses, or if it's a client's house, we just go with simple white, and we want to make sure that all the plates are perfectly straight and nothing's crooked, because these little details will matter to buyers or people coming over to your house. Again, psychology. If you have a faceplate that's crooked, they're going to wonder what else was done to the house, and whoever did this job, what did they do wrong on, whether it's a power outlet or if it's even your breaker. They could have messed around with that. That's what goes through people's mind if they don't see everything perfect. So with getting rid of all the electrical plates, switches, outlets that are yellow within the house, you can see an added value anywhere between $4,000 and $5,000. Number 9, adding recessed lights throughout will add a ton of value, and you want to make sure that your property is up to date. So if you have those old wonky boob lights that come down, get rid of those. It's time to add recessed lighting. So a main focal point that you want to add recessed lighting is in your living room. If you don't have the means to put recessed lighting throughout your house, I would highly suggest that you put at least 6 recessed lights in your living room, because this is right next to the kitchen, and when people walk in, this is usually where they talk a lot more about the house that they're seeing, or if you have friends and family over, they're going to be in there where the TV's at, and it's an open space for people to talk. So instead of buying the old can lights, those are hard to install, and most likely you would have to have an electrician out, and then you would have to drywall around it, and then paint, and then textures. So the cost on that continues to go up. But now we have WAC lighting, which it just comes in. It's a very thin light, and then it has a little battery pack there. You want to make sure that you're buying these from a trusted distributor. I would not buy them off of Amazon. I would definitely go to Lowe's. You'd want to make sure that you're getting a good brand, because they do have a life expectancy on these. In these ones right here, I'm on build.com, and these ones are $365 per recessed light, and these are adjustable color, temperature, and if you're doing the recessed lights, you want to make sure that they're on a dimmer. People do like that, especially if they're watching movies or they want to set the mood for whatever occasion, or if they want to keep the lights on at night just in case they have to come downstairs. Doing the recessed lights, I would definitely suggest going with 100 watts, and doing this project yourself, or if you're hiring it out, can add anywhere between $3,000 to $4,000 to the purchase price or the value of your home. The last thing you want to do if you want to spruce up your house a little bit more, and it's very cost effective, is pressure washing the exterior of your house. Just like the mulch, this is going to add value, and psychologically when people pull up to your house, it looks clean, it's not dirty, it doesn't have cobwebs on it. And so doing this, taking a couple hours out of your weekend, can help tremendously if you're trying to spruce up your home. If you don't have a pressure washer, you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot and you can rent one. So let's see right now what Home Depot or Lowe's is charging to rent a pressure washer or rent Lowe's. So you can rent one for $27 for 4 hours, or you can rent one for a day for $38. They also cost around $360 if you just want to purchase one and make it part of your monthly or quarterly routine to clean up the house, the exterior of the home. But these little tips can add value to your home sale or just the value of your home if you're not selling, and hopefully you found some value in these. If you have any questions about these 10 tips to add some value to your home, please let me know in the comments, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.